Hello and welcome to the IILM Alumni Podcast series. And today with us, we have one of our alumni who we are actually going to gain a lot of information to. Today with us, we have Mr. Harbind Singh. So hi, Mr. Harbind, how have you been?
Absolutely fine. How are you?
Very well. How was your journey to IILM?
It's a bit heated in Delhi NCR, but yeah, it's good enough. And over the years, it's been fruitful altogether.
Very nice. How does it feel like getting back to the university?
Oh, it's a different experience coming back, not as a student. I still remember. It's like yesterday. How the details were. So I walked through the grass. In between, it's a different feeling altogether. But yeah, it's a good one.
Good to know. So while you were at IILM University, so IILM, of course, has always believed that we want our students to somewhere or the other be practically involved, be practically inclined, right? So the first thing that we see is that going back to your college days, you interned at Kantar, IMRB, and People Strong while you were still at IILM.
Yes.
And how did you feel after the institute was actually pushing towards learning through practicals or actually working and interning and learning? How was the experience?
It was absolutely amazing. Just to share a bit with you, Kantar IMRB was it's split up now, but yeah, at that one time it was a research-based firm. So we got to do a lot of research-based projects altogether, mainly data collection. So I got to see a different side of research, not the fancy, AC rooms, but how actually, they go ahead and collect the data. With People Strong, I got two opportunities with them. For the first one was wherein their digital marketing team had to, optimize their search engines altogether. So that was one. And the second time they were launching a product, and they specially called me on to, help them hands-on with that altogether. Both of these experiences were out of the world at the point.
Good to know. Except for that, we see that there are a lot of events that are held in the college, right? So similarly, when I could actually go through your entire LinkedIn profile, where I did not find much, but as much as I could, you were a part of the social media team at IILM's SIMA conference. So I would just want to know, looking back at those days, was that your first real-time experience where you were managing both social media and managing communication under a lot of pressure, or have you done that prior as well, or how was the experience all in all?
Okay, I'm going to give you insight. This was supposed to say a secret, but when this conference happened, and the day that this was supposed to happen, I was supposed to be the opening host.
Okay.
For that altogether. So giving the introductions to all the dignitaries. I accidentally deleted my speech. Altogether. So within 15 minutes, with I think there was Rishi ma'am that at one time, we came up with the speech again altogether. It was one of the first experiences that I also had towards public speaking. Being a kind of a guy who's been introverted for his whole life, it was a nerve-cracking experience altogether. I'm good with the back-end part, wherein you go ahead, you promote the event, you do all of these things, but never been in front of that huge of crowd altogether. That was a surreal experience for me, and that actually opened me up in a lot of ways altogether. I got to know that that there's a voice that can be taken out, and that can be heard also by people, and that's come a long way for me. For people who are planning their careers in corporates, right? They would also need to, at one point in time, work on how they're networking with people, how they're talking to people, right? This particular bit opened me up to that foray altogether.
Nice. So, of course, this is one part of it, but we also see that IILM gave you exposure in different other aspects of life as well. So, IILM gave you exposure to both research and branding before you even graduated, because that is a part of our curriculum. Which of these early experiences kind of shaped you professionally the most is what I would want to know.
I would not be able to put down it to one of them altogether, because when this Kantara MLB was happening, we were under that, what are we doing with the data collection? What is this all about? Because we were not going to see the end result immediately altogether. It's a long process altogether. You start with data collection, you then refine it down, you research on it, and then you publish things out. And we were not going to see that part. But then the kind of projects that they made us work on. So within Kantan IMIB also, we had smaller projects on a week-to-week basis on which we had to go ahead and collect data, altogether. It could be in person, it could be online. At one point in time, we went out to one of the malls and we were just randomly interviewing people. Interviewing people, approaching them, this shaped me, when I go to my corporate now, when I go to my office now, I have that feeling, I can approach this person. I never would have had that. So that is how it shaped me. Then coming on to the branding stuff altogether. I did a bit of a cold calling also over there.
Okay.
Right. So that was, they made it fun for me, I would say. They asked me that, we have a target over here that never gone above a certain threshold. I smashed it at that point in time, right?
Wow.
So think about this, the conference, the data collection, and then, coming onto that altogether. Branding was, of course, there altogether. I was able to, make the emailers going out to their people, doing a lot of things altogether. But then this was another aspect that I did not know I had in me. So, pre-sales was also in me at that point in time. Yeah.
Yeah, and then of course, when you're in sales, you're like the front face of the organization that you're somewhere or the other, of course, representing at that moment. But when I talk about you professionally, I went through your entire career journey, and there have been a lot of shifts, and there have been, So you went from marketing and branding internships straight into banking at Barclays, right, as a personal banker. That's quite a shift. What made you move towards finance, and how did you find your footing in a role that was so relationship driven?
The roles like these altogether, see, I would say, whatsoever I learned, I was able to gain a footing in that altogether. With Barclays, since they had outsourced the details to this particular bit altogether, there was a different kind of a dealing that we had, right? I'd never seen people going ahead and, calling in to, just have their textbooks sent out, over the call. I'd never had that exposure altogether, because even at that point in time, it was not too much prevalent. I used to see people going into the banks, and getting those things done. But with Barclays, it was a game changer. I was like, okay, they are at a different level altogether. But then when coming into that, transitioning from marketing towards finance, it looks like a better choice at that point in time altogether, because I, as I mentioned, I never was a sales guy altogether. I was more into, I want to be in branding.
Yeah.
But branding and marketing, they have to have that sales kind of experience also for you.
Yeah.
You should be able to sell the product before you know what, you have to give out to actually sell the product. So that's kind of the gist over there. Again, those opportunities, they may not have been there at one time. But again, coming into finance, coming into, people management, servicing, relationship management, it's a different ballgame altogether.
I get it. I mean, so when I talk about, say, marketing and finance, and sales for that matter, there is an overlap, but
not too much, I would say.
Yeah, but a little bit. I mean, as you said, when you have to be in sales, you have to know your product.
And I'll give you a bit on this, right? So when you go into corporates altogether, it's not just one job that you're doing at that point. I mean, it's just not, you are the customer relationship manager. Okay, you're going to handle this, right? Now to grow into corporates, there's a lot of other things that you need to do. My marketing and branding experience from all of those of those 2 years came in handy, right? With transitioning from Barclays to Airbnb to Amex, right? Amex was a bit scary for me, because it's a different it's a different beast altogether. But once I went in, I was able to create certain small niche things altogether. Gave me good visibility at that point in time, altogether. And ultimately, if in case that 2 years, down the line had not been there, I would not have been able to do that. Again, it's purely finance with Amex also. But again, it's something, the extracurricular that helps a lot.
as you talked about Airbnb, so your first time at Airbnb as a resolution specialization or a specialist is fascinating. So resolving conflicts in a platform that operates across cultures and different geographies, it must have required a very different kind of a communication or a different kind of a skill set. When I talk about it, what's that one thing that the role taught you, and about human behavior? What is it that you would want to talk about, that how to work under pressure, or want to advise our students?
Oh, there's a lot, right? See, with Airbnb, this was a kind of a very different kind of experience coming from banking, going into a place that helps people, or does not help people, but actually, lets them stay at somebody else's home. That's Atiti Devo Bhava for you, but with a
for
paid
Indians.
gimmick, right? So altogether, that is there. I did not know much about Airbnb apart from, I'd made an account in 2012 with them. I have no idea why, but I did sign up with them. And I knew that, these guys, the story of how the bed and breakfast is, happened altogether. But when I went over there, right, when you are a resolution expert, so you have, the person who's staying, the, host who's hosting, and the admin in between, right? So we were there all together to help them with this. Let's say, for example, somebody who's, who's very tired. Think about this. You're just tired of, of your days altogether. You have been looking forward to this trip, I don't know for how long, and you reach over there and you find that, oh, there's a blank spot. There's nothing over here, right? And the person, on the other line, that they're reaching out to Airbnb. Hey, you know what? There's nothing. What do I do? And you have to find them a place altogether. That's the ownership part, that they take altogether. But yes, you need to find them a place. That's how Airbnb goes about. So that's, you think about this, a person is depending on you to find them a place to sleep that night, or for the next couple of days, of course. That's a different kind of pressure that you take. It's just not that my money is not there, or I have a home, I have a roof over my head. But again, that's just one of the instances. There's a lot more that comes to mind altogether. People, when you're talking to them over the phone or in person, right, they have different problems altogether. You have to figure out a middle way. You have to resolve that problem. You have to understand that, this is what we can do as a company, and we also have to uphold it ethically, right? Altogether. So that's all the details taken into one. So pressure, it does come in, but again, over time, you reach that stage when you empathize with them, you understand what they're going through, and try to help them in the best way that you can.
I mean, pretty out of my script, but out of this entire conversation, I also feel that when you are somebody who's a resolution expert, you were handling a lot of crises at that moment, is what I understand and realize. So do you think that when you are actually trying to resolve a consumer's issue, or maybe Airbnb, or maybe the host's issue, I mean, it can be any of them, either of the parties, right? There is a possibility that, the host is facing an issue with somebody who's staying at a B&B and they've created a chaos out there.
Of course, we get to see those videos now a lot.
So are you also a crisis expert at such a scenario?
Of course, we have had people, the host calling in. Think about this. They have when you go into Airbnb, there's a concept of superhost. That's pretty much available to everybody. A superhost is somebody who's really put in their efforts all together. They go at their home, they find that things are broken, things have been been played with altogether. Think about a person's hard-earned money. And this is not somebody who's into real estate. This is somebody who's saved up over a lifetime of 50 years or so, and then they open up this B&B, and then they have been trying to maintain their statuses also. After that, they find that this is not there, this is not there. So again, coming from that background, the first thing that we do with any of the be it the person who's going over there or the host, right? You need to learn how to empathize, right? Now within the Indian scenario, I would say empathy, even I did not understand empathy very honestly when I was here. Even when I started working with Barclays, I was like, "What are you talking about? What is this? This cannot be. It's not there. It's not there. That's it, right?" But then it came down to the fact that person may be depending. It could be, it could not be. But again, think about this: that this person is depending on you at the end of the day, be it in any of the three scenarios, right? Altogether, to find a solution for them, right? And again, as I mentioned, you have the host, you have the company, sorry, not the host, you have the consumer, you have the supplier, you have the company, right? All three, you need to, you are the one who's had to make that decision whether we can or we cannot, right? And if in case we cannot, we explain to them why we cannot. We let them know what are their alternatives, if at all, altogether. But yes, saying no also has to be in a way that you can actually put it across that yes, we tried everything we could, but again, there's nothing out of it.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it doesn't come across as somebody who's not trying to help. So because you of course, coming across with any and every reasoning that you could have possibly given, and you've tried your best.
Absolutely, it has to be an earnest, kind of effort that you need to put in.
Yeah.
And these companies, they majorly work. They may work on 24/7 basis also. So they give their the people the guarantee that we are going to be there for you, right? And they uphold that also.
Now, getting to Amex, you've now spent nearly 4 years at
Yeah,
American
absolutely.
Express as a senior customer care professional. What has a brand like Amex demanded out of you in terms of quality and in terms of communication that the previous roles did not actually want you to acquire or did not want you to have?
It's not just Amex, I would say. It's all the companies in general. You need to put in an extra foot. In any of the situations that you're in. I'm not only going to talk just about servicing. Any domain that you pick up, right? This has to be some sort of an extra effort over there. See, there's like 100 people that are working, just beside you. How do you outshine them? How do you, come into the limelight? I have my height. I'm like 6 feet. I get seen, pretty much everywhere.
So nobody can ignore you any which way.
It's like, it's a no-brainer for me.
Yeah.
But then that's just a track part. But yes, out of those 100 to 200 people, how do you show that, it's me who has what it takes, right? And you are going to be competing with people who may be in the organization for, past 7-8 years, right? They know the ins and outs. They know everything that can be done. They know the company, has they have ethics, they have everything that is coming to them. So you're going to be competing with them. How do you do that, right? As I mentioned, I had a lot of those details already with me. It was just waiting to pour out altogether. I found a way, and it did come over there. So yeah, with any of the companies, not only Amex, you have to have that a bit of push so that you can showcase what can or cannot be there.
So when we read your profile, it describes you as a client champion in a world where AI chatbots are handling more and more, consumer queries. What does human-led consumer care still do better than, the AI, and how is it different, and how can AI not replicate what the humans can? I mean, I have had a lot of issues with, dealing with these AI chatbots or dealing with, calls wherein they're already pre-recorded. But what is it which is different that the humans have to offer? Because the way AI is, somewhere or the other changing, and it is inevitable that, we're not shifting towards that trend. And since you're the champion, I want to know from the champion itself as to why do we call you one?
Yeah. So see, what happens with this is, when I would say that a lot of even I see the news that AI is just taking over jobs, taking over a lot of things altogether. See, my understanding and my details come to the bit that AI is there to help you with this. Right?
Yes.
Within India also, a lot of companies have started adopting AI. You don't get to talk to a human person, right? Even if in case you do, they have quite a less few options that might be available for you. Just to give you a tweak of an example, I had a kind of a pillow kind of a cushion that I had ordered. I was traveling somewhere. I was like, this time I'm going to take a question. I'm going to travel. It's been enough. I wrote it and it was like, roughed up from one end. Right? So before, that company came out and let me know, that we cannot help you. They asked me to upload the images. Yeah, okay, I upload these images. Then I get a call from the person.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? I cannot see it. I'm like, okay. You see picture number 1? That's there. You see picture number 2? That's there, right? And then they were like, oh, now I see it, right? AI may not be able to differentiate the details at this point in time, as a human cannot, right?
Yes.
They may still need to have a bit of a push over there that, what, this is what we are looking for, this is where you are at, and we come to an understanding altogether. And that was pretty easy for me to go ahead and explain. I, being from the servicing end, I get it, what they may be facing, or I'm like, okay, you go ahead, take your time, see this. And the person was like, yeah, I see it now, right? Similarly, this happens with what the current scenario is, right? AI is there to help you, right? Even in any scenario that you take, any of the fields that you take, right? It is there to help you altogether. Our job at this point in time is to understand how it can help us.
Yeah.
Right. It's not a question that, I'll do it later. That later will never come.
I mean, upskilling at this moment is really important. I mean, if you do not grow with the current trend, I don't think people will be able to survive in the industry. Why? Because we, of course, need human intervention, as you said, in the end. But the basics, of course, can be covered by the bots.
By the bots, they can be. But see, with the bots also, there's a lot of, so again, I don't come from that background.
Yes.
I would not want to go ahead and comment on that also. But again, there's a lot of training that happens, right? You train a human, you train a chatbot, right?
Yeah.
And then you come onto it.
Yeah.
I have Claude, I have, ChatGPT, I have Gemini, all of those onto my phone. The answers that it was giving me about a year ago and the answers that it is giving me now, that's a huge difference in that altogether, because I'm the one who's training it, right?
Yeah.
I prefer to go to the temporary chat when I'm like, okay, this might be too much.
Yeah.
I put in the prompts, I go ahead with this. Upskilling has always been a part of it. Like you look at through the history altogether.
Yeah.
Right. We go back to the 1950s, when India did not have much. India upskilled.
Yeah.
India came today here, right? They had, the institutes, all of those things that are happening. You have world-class people. I think recently the CEO of Cred got appointed as the WhatsApp CEO, right?
Oh.
Right. So you think that person has been upskilling. You be in an entrepreneurial role, you be in a job, you be anywhere. Upskilling is necessary. Even if in case you're a farmer, you have to upskill, right? Because somebody out there might be doing better than you, right?
Yes.
You either adapt to it or you change their ways altogether. You see the way the businesses have been happening with Zomato, Swiggy, all of those. I never used to imagine I'm going to go out and order food, without intermediary. I used to say in a different place. It used to be, we used to call up, Anju bhaiya, एक please भिजवा दीजिए. कितने में आएगा? 40 minutes में. And you're 2 hours 40 minutes over there. It's not there.
Yeah.
Now the luxury that we have, is that it's getting delivered in 50 minutes.
And you can track every little update.
40 minutes they're saying, and it's coming in 50 minutes. 50 minutes, we still, pretty much insanely, angry about it. Why 50 minutes, right?
Yes.
And you have to understand at the end of the day, a person is delivering out there. Even if in case a bot was delivering it, it still couldn't have done that. It may not have been able to do that, altogether. So it's a game of upskilling always. You stay in the same pond.
I mean, you'll never grow, of course. I mean, a tree would need space. You can't grow in a little
think about
planter.
That, fish who had not decided to come onto land, we would not be talking, right?
Yeah.
So it's that simple. That also upskills itself to come over here.
Getting to your work profile again. So you work at the intersection of communication, people management, and quality analysis. How do those three things actually connect in your day-to-day work? And which one do you think is the most undervalued?
So I would not say anyone is undervalued, because again, these things go hand in hand all together. If in case you undervalue one thing, the other will suffer, right? You see the servicing perspective, that goes for a toss. The other two functions become immovable, right? What will you do of people management or quality analysis if in case servicing is not there? If in case people management goes for a toss, your people are going out, they're coming in, you do not know what is happening with your set altogether. You have to train new people, you have to bring in new people, you have to let people know this is not there, this is not there. So it's kind of a hand-holding thing. You don't want to do that with people beyond one point in time, right? Quality, it's surely one of the most important aspects altogether. See, quality has to look at things from all the perspectives, including the governmental, the regulatory. So whosoever's read the PESTEL analysis, this is where the quality, the regulatory, the government, the external factors come into. So when quality goes for a toss, right? Your people management is amazing, your client servicing is amazing, right? But you're not adhering to details. What happens? Banks close.
Yeah.
Right. We have had a huge example of a bank closing. Not on limit, but yeah, it did get closed down, right? Because of that. They have other services going on, but again, it's one of the aspects. So you cannot compromise on any of those things, and yet you have to put your best foot forward, right? You have to have that intersection. You have to have that, I would say, hive mentality. Okay, this is what we fed into these things, and all of these things are going to take care of, themselves altogether. One thing goes for a toss, the other pulls it up. For example, servicing is not doing things correctly, or not going through that. Quality comes in. Quality says, hey, you know what? This is what is happening wrong.
Yeah.
We're getting a lot of escalations. We're getting a lot of details. They fix this. Goes hand in hand, right?
Yeah.
Who connects quality to client as the servicing team? The people management team, right? The managers in between. So they're like, the quality goes to people management team. They let them know this is not happening. This is what's going wrong. You have to fix this. They fix this, right? So you cannot eliminate anyone at this point in time.
Yeah.
Again, I cannot say what future will hold, but again, you cannot have anyone, shaken off and the other two functioning just like that.
But as a consumer, say if I'm approaching you, so Indians have this mindset that we would prefer quantity over quality, or we would prefer maybe cheaper products than buying good quality or expensive products. Or for that matter, even we lack a sense of good communication also. We're not very good receivers. I mean, we would of course expect that the other person listens to us and would talk to us pretty nice. But we would not listen to the other person reciprocating. How do you deal with issues like these?
I'll give you an example. Again, I've worked in countries outside of India majorly. I've worked in the Indian market also.
Yeah.
But looking from that perspective, I had a car background. About a year or so ago, right? I was at nearby Spa, and it was not working, and I had to stay there for like 2 hours, right? I was talking to one person constantly through the team altogether, and the person was not giving me any information. When you are communicating, right, you have to understand what this customer wants, right? Customer might be unrealistic, right? You may have to say no, but the first step is you need to understand what they are asking you of. My ask at that point in time was, get my car working. I want to go home. I want to sleep. It's my day off. That was my ask. For 2 hours, I had this one person who was just keeping me in the loop. So I've escalated. They may be doing it also. I'm not too sure. I'm not going to go ahead and comment. That's their job. I had 2 more people after that, altogether. Same details. At last, I had another person, and I asked them, what do you guys do? Like, what is it that, where is it I am lagging? And what is it that you're not, getting out of it? I'm here for 2 hours.
Yeah.
It's 2 hours of my time and your time. It's precious, right? You don't want a customer who's, constantly ringing up, holding up, other customers for you.
Yeah.
Well, that was my verbiage to them, right? And that person understood. He gave me the clarity on what was happening. I had to wait another hour, but I did not call up again, right? So The patience and the other such things from the customer's mindset, when it'll develop, That's a different matter altogether. But for the first step towards that is the person who's taking the call. Be it any, you call a full company, you have people calling in. I have, a lot of spam calls that come in,
Yeah.
So property, so I get that. And the first thing you hear from them, as soon as you hear property, you go ahead and disconnect.
Yeah.
I generally don't. I either don't pick up or I, just talk to them. I tell them, I straight away tell them, I'm not in this bracket also, what you're offering me. So again, you have something in future, you might get it. And it's been fruitful conversations also. Right? But again, from the consumer's mindset, it's the person who's taking, that detail. You could be in person also, right? In person, a person can attack you. What will you do then?
Yeah.
Right? You will still have to communicate that to them. You know what? So this is not what we can. This is not what we can or cannot do. Right? There's good news. You tell them, right? It's good news. Go home. Have a beer, chill. If in case it's not a good news, let them know, sir. You definitely need to have a beer. Go ahead. Sure. So it's that kind of a situation where that gets developed over the years. Some people are naturally good at it. Naturally good at how they communicate, how they empathize with people.
Yeah.
Those who are not, I would definitely say hear a lot of things, understand a lot of perspectives.
Yeah.
That even if in case the people overseeing, if in case they're starting at this point in time. Go ahead, listen to perspectives, listen to what the other person is saying, right? If in case you by chance land up in such a role, you will any which ways have to do that. You'll have to do that in any role. Even if in case you get to a director level, you have to understand from the top management what is need to be done, and you need to communicate it to the other person, right? By the director's time, I understand the person would already be aware about it, but then that person also has to do that. So communication, people management, how you go about it. One thing that developed for me here, I had, when you were in a college such as IILM, right, you have a diverse set of people coming in. Right? A lot of diverse set of people coming in. Do not hold yourself back from talking to anybody.
Yeah.
Right. You may not like one thing, but you will understand why the other person likes it.
Yeah.
That's
where they're coming from.
Yeah, of course. We tend to be in the heat of the moment altogether, and that's where we need to just take it a step back, right? As I mentioned, when you're on outsourced companies, you don't have to do much. You don't have to deal with the people in person. You have to manage everything, online or with the call. How's the case is. If in case you're in an in-person role, you have to understand, you will have to deal with that person. You will have to understand, where they're coming from. You will also have to understand where they're being unrealistic.
Yeah.
Sometimes, when the food ordering thing, we order food, it did not come in 10 minutes. I'm like, I don't only want a refund, I want a compensation. Right?
Yeah.
Yes, I get it. 10 minutes is a bit much. But again, just take a step back, understand that had your experience been like that before? No? Come on, let it go. Right? Give them a benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
And it all boils down to the first point, empathize it. How to empathize with the other person. You empathize, you'll know better communication altogether.
Empathizing, of course, is one little piece of advice that I think the students will gain out of it. But your career has been built entirely on client-facing roles across very different industries. You worked with finance, hospitality, tech. What's that one communication skill that has traveled with you across all of these?
Learn to say no.
Learn to say no.
Learn to say no. I was a yes man, earlier. If in case anybody has seen that movie, Jim Carrey, marvelous movie, watch it, you will love it. But then I was like, oh, you know what? This can be done. You cannot always. This is real life, right?
Yeah.
It's not a movie that you get to do over. You get to remove that clip and play it over again. It's happened, right? So we have to learn to say no. Right? Where it is a no, it's a no. You cannot really do much. Professional, personal, any of the details that you pick up. Learn to say no, and of course, I would again say for a better communication, build a pillar towards, how you empathize with people. Once you start empathizing, once you start understanding, I was not a very good speaker, when you talk about the details.
I don't agree. You're a great orator.
I may have touched wood. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I appreciate the kind
Yeah,
gesture, but
beg to differ. Just
but then it's come over years. Had you met the Harbind of 2000, let's say it was 15, 16, something like that sort, I've been a very different kind of guy. Right? Like, okay, what's wrong? Do you have a tongue? I do. That's about it, right? So when I started understanding, what people are trying to say or what people are trying to, when you open yourself up to different experiences, I don't mean experiences that you go to Instagram, you search for experiences, you see, oh, that person traveling to Bali, very good for them, right? But that person may be in a different zone. You may be in a different zone.
Yeah.
Ups and downs keep on happening. Skill set. Even if in case you talk about India, right? The place, Nehru Place, right? Nehru Place. You go over there, you talk to people. They're like, "Lena lo, nahi lena na, mat lo." You just give them one chance and you say, "Bhai sahab, please, ek bari." You say this, they're all ears. I read this story. There was a person, like, I'm not going to take much, but just to give you a gist about it. There was this person who had a gold jewelry kind of a shop, right? Okay. Not working at all, dad's in debt altogether, but they're still running it. One day, one person comes in, I want to sell my gold. And, by chance he says, credit card ka bill, all of that, he says. And his father hears it. He said, why are you selling it? Gold jewelers, they would love to, just get gold first altogether because that's a market for them.
Cheap bargain.
Yeah, cheap bargain for them altogether. They get to, take it for a less amount. So he said, do not sell it. He asked him, what are your loans? What are your credit cards? He saw them. He gave them advice. You know what, this. You clear this off, you stop this, you stop this. Okay, done. Within 2 years, right, that person had a huge change in his life. He did not sell that gold. And this person in the past 2 years did not have much to do, right? But once he started seeing that, he remembered, this is the conversation that I had. Then that person who initially wanted to sell the gold, he had somebody who was, going to buy jewelry. Like, you are not going to buy it from anywhere. I'm going to take you to a place. That's how you build connection. He built one connection, and today he has a huge shop, right? The point across over here is, you need to listen. You need to, even before emphasizing, I'm sorry, this should be a very good point for everybody. Listen and then empathize. Do not let it go. Empathizing without listening is like, I understand you, but I don't really know much, right? Have you heard the person?
Yeah.
No, you haven't, right? So hear the person, understand. Can you make a difference? Go ahead with it. You can't, say no. A blunt no, I would say.
So if today a current IILM student would come down to you and say that they wanted to build a career in consumer experience or people management, what would you tell them to do in their first year after graduating that most people won't bother to do?
I would say whatever you have learned, right? Try putting it into practice.
Okay.
So, for example, you've learned Excel, right? You've learned PowerPoint. Within the first years, within these roles, you don't get to use much of them altogether. Try utilizing them, right? Even if in case nobody's noticing it, you still try creating something altogether, right? Ultimately, I understand that, AI is going to do the job for us ultimately, but you start creating it altogether. Yeah. When you start creating, it'll open up avenues, right? For example, let's say, the person starts in customer experience, right? They go ahead and, they understand the banking system, some of that. Now, they want to make connections. Right? When you make a connection, you need to be able to understand that person is also not, it's, what do you say, that there's no free lunches for anybody, right? Any place you take it. When there's no free lunches, you know that the person will want something out of you. You should have a portfolio of things that, you may have done. Nobody noticed it, fine, that's okay. But when you apply for a new role after that, usually customer service, extends towards people management or to risk. risk is one of the bigger emerging kind of things. It always was, but it's coming into limelight now. The reason being, AI chatbots, they need to be within certain risk factors and all of those things. If in case you want to transition into that altogether, you should understand, what you are actually doing first. And, when you're going to give that interview, you tell them, I only did this. Like, good, very good, we're going to consider you. But we have other candidates also. When they interview the other candidates also, they bring, hey, you know what, I did this, and apart from what my core job was, who's going to get the job? Yeah, so
Somebody.
that's a difference maker. First year, explore everything. You want to understand something, you eat your manager's head out. I have done that. I do that to this day. My first meeting with any of the managers is, I'm going to eat your brains out. Be prepared. And they're like, okay, yeah. And when I actually start eating their brains out, oh, okay, that's a bit too much. Slow down a bit. But then that's how you grow at the end of the day.
Nice. I think there's a lot of growing that the students will actually have out of the entire conversation. They might have a lot of things to learn, unlearn, relearn. And it was really great to have you here today. It was a great conversation. And I think even I kind of understand where is this actually coming from. I mean, the way you talk, I think if I was on a call over a, maybe a messed up situation and maybe speaking to somebody like you, I make calls frantically because the bots kind of tend to terrify us. So it's really nice because I have seen this in this entire podcast that we have had today, the entire conversation, that of course I am also going to learn to say a no, and then a piece of advice for all our students also. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
And
Sure. Thank you so
see
much
you
for
again.
having me
See
here.
ya.
I appreciate
See
it.
ya.
Thank you.